Good morning. Here is your global news briefing for January 19th, 2026.
All right, let's jump right in. We're starting with some key updates on major global conflicts and tensions.
First up, we're heading to Iran, where ongoing protests against the regime have led to a really significant death toll. But, as you'll see, the exact numbers are, well, they're all over the place depending on who you ask.
So take a look at these numbers. It's pretty striking, right? The figures are wildly different. And this really highlights a huge challenge in any conflict zone. Information itself becomes a battleground. You've got activist groups who might report higher numbers to get the world's attention, while the government, often tries to downplay things. Even Iran's supreme leader has admitted to several thousand deaths, but at the same time he's pointing fingers, blaming the US and Israel for stirring up the unrest.
Okay, looking at other hotspots around the world, it's really a mixed bag. In Syria, there's actually a glimmer of hope. A ceasefire agreement has just been reached between the transitional government and the Kurd-led SDF. But then you look at Gaza, and tensions are still incredibly high, with an Israeli-backed force claiming a targeted assassination. And over in Ukraine, the impact on everyday people continues to be brutal. Recent drone strikes in the Russian-occupied Zaporizhia region have knocked out power for over 200,000 households.
All right, now we're turning our attention to a series of disasters, looking at the impact of extreme weather and some tragic accidents from around the globe.
This really paints a picture of a world of extremes, doesn't it? On one side of the planet, you have catastrophic flooding, and on the other, you've got these massive, raging wildfires. It just goes to show you the widespread impact these events are having.
The human cost in southern Africa is just devastating. We're hearing reports that more than 100 people have lost their lives in these massive floods that are sweeping across several countries. Meanwhile, in Chile, authorities are confirming at least 16 deaths from those huge wildfires burning through the central regions. And get this, over 50,000 people have had to evacuate their homes.
And now to Europe, where a really tragic accident in Spain has claimed a significant number of lives. We're hearing at least 21 people have been killed after two high-speed trains collided near Ademuz.
Okay, let's shift gears now to politics and take a look at how some recent elections and leadership changes are shaking things up. So in Benin, something pretty interesting is happening politically. For the first time in 4 years, an opposition party has actually won seats in parliament. They've secured 28 spots. Now, why does this matter? Well, it's a big deal because it could signal a shift away from a system dominated by just one party, bringing a little more political diversity back into the mix.
So when we look at leadership around the world, we're seeing a bit of everything, both continuity and change. For example, in Guinea, the junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya has just been sworn in as president. Over in Uganda, the incumbent Yoweri Museveni has locked in his 7th term in office. But then in Portugal, things are still up in the air. Their presidential election is headed for a runoff, with the candidate Seguro currently in the lead.
All right, let's take a quick look at the markets now, specifically precious metals, which have been hitting some fresh highs.
Gold is just continuing its really strong run, now trading at over $4,600 an ounce. So what's behind this? It looks like two big things are driving it. First, you've got strong demand from investors in Asia ahead of the Lunar New Year. And second, there's a ton of buying coming from ETFs. Those are exchange-traded funds.
And it's not just gold. Silver is rallying too. It's trading at $92 an ounce, and it even hit a new peak of over $95 earlier this week.
And just a quick look at the energy sector, WTI crude oil is trading at just under $60 a barrel.
And finally today, let's wrap up with some really fascinating new developments coming out of the world of science and technology.
We've got a few recent breakthroughs that are really expanding what we know about, well, everything, from the cosmos all the way down to ourselves. First, astronomers have confirmed they've found the earliest known galaxy that looks a lot like our own Milky Way. I mean, this is a snapshot from just 2 billion years after the Big Bang. Then, there's another mind-blowing discovery, a massive iron structure hundreds of times bigger than Pluto's orbit found inside the Ring Nebula. And then, bringing it back down to Earth, a huge 47-year study out of Sweden has some news for us. It seems that for most people, our physical fitness and strength typically start to decline right around age 35.
And that's your global news summary for this hour.
We'll be back with another update in 24 hours to keep you right up to speed.
Hey, if you want to stay up to date with these briefings, please do us a favor and like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching.